Pop up the international news. Simon Pusey standing by with Around the World in 5.
Good evening from the Channel's newsroom here in London. An airstrike which killed more than 44 migrants in Libya may amount to a war crime, according to the UN. More than 130 people were injured in the strike at a detention centre on the outskirts of the Libyan capital, Tripoli. It's been blamed on forces led by warlord General Khalifa Haftar, but his troops accuse the government of the attack. Most of the dead are believed to be sub-Saharan Africans attempting to reach Europe from Libya by sea. It is believed to be the highest publicly reported death toll after an airstrike since Eastern forces loyal to Khalifa Haftar launched an offensive 3 months ago. Thousands of migrants are held in government-run detention centres. Following the strike, the UN has called for Libya to evacuate the people in these facilities for their safety.
Our teams are rushing onto the ground to provide them with assistance and to provide medical care, and we're working against the clock to get assistance to people as quickly as possible. But the key thing here is that the situation has to change. We can no longer have a situation where people are trapped inside detention centres, unable to escape when they get caught up in violence, and we cannot have people being brought back to Libya after being rescued on the Mediterranean if that means being held in these detention centres.
Iran's president says his country will boost its uranium enrichment to whatever levels it needs beyond the cap set in the landmark 2015 nuclear deal. In a televised address, President Hassan Rouhani said our level of enrichment will be above 3.67 in breach of the limit set in 2015. European co-signatories of the deal said they were extremely concerned by Tehran's apparent breach of the deal, while Israel said it was preparing for possible involvement in any military confrontation between Iran and the United States. Members of the European Parliament have chosen the Italian socialist David Sassoli as the new president. A former journalist, he won 345 votes in the second round of voting to take the top job. Mr. Sassoli will hold the post for 2.5 years and, under an agreement struck with the Parliament's centre-right EPP group, will hand the presidency to them after that. The vote comes a day after EU leaders agreed nominations for the bloc's top jobs, with German Defence Minister Ursula von der Leyen the first woman to be nominated as European Commission chief. Residents of Russia's northern port of Murmansk have gathered to mourn 14 people killed in a submarine fire. 14 Russian sailors died when a fire broke out while their deep-water research submarine was carrying out a survey of the sea floor near the Arctic. The incident was the deadliest involving a Russian naval submarine since August 2000, when the nuclear-powered Kursk sank, killing all 118 men aboard. The leader of India's main opposition Congress party has resigned, ending weeks of speculation. Rahul Gandhi said he took responsibility for the party's defeat in the recent general election. Mr. Gandhi's father, grandmother and great-grandfather are all former prime ministers. In his resignation letter, he called the impartiality of the election into question, saying that we didn't fight a political party, we fought the entire machinery of the Indian state. Meanwhile, Indian authorities have airlifted the bodies of 7 climbers killed in an avalanche in May to the biggest town in the area for identification and repatriation. 8 climbers, 4 of them from Britain, 2 from the United States and 1 each from Australia and India, went missing on May the 31st after they failed to return to their base camp. The body of the 8th climber has not been found. Authorities in Japan have ordered over 1 million people to evacuate due to flooding fears. Evacuation orders were issued for 1.02 million people on the southmost island of Kyushu to take shelter in evacuation centres and other safe areas. It's as torrential rain in the region threatens to trigger widespread landslides. Some parts of southern Kyushu have received up to 39 inches of rain since Friday, about as much as usually falls in the whole month of July. Forecasters expect as much as 12 more inches of rainfall in some areas by Thursday. And finally, more than 1,200 items from the life of the late actress Elizabeth Taylor are being put up for auction. A gown worn to the 1974 Academy Awards and a pale blue chiffon dress that Taylor wore to the Oscars are among the items on sale. Also on offer will be a gold-plated sterling silver Cartier belt that Taylor had inscribed to her mother, which is expected to sell for more than $40,000. The auction will be held in early December in California. And that's your international news around the world in 5.
Thank you, Simon. Olumide Macaulay has the sports news.
Welcome to Sports News. 15-year-old qualifier Corey Gauff has continued her historic Wimbledon run after taking down grass court stalwart Magdalena Rybarikova in 2 sets of 6-3, 6-3. In her opening round, Gauff came face-to-face with one of her tennis idols when she took on Venus Williams, defeating the former Wimbledon champion in straight sets and becoming the youngest player to win a match there since 1991. The young American's next challenge will be Paulina Hercog, who stunned Madison Keys in straight sets to advance 6-2, 6-4. Novak Djokovic has continued his serene progress through the singles draw at Wimbledon with a straight sets win over Denis Kudla. The Serbian has become the first of the top 3 seeds to reach the 3rd round thanks to a 6-3, 6-2, 6-2 win over his American opponent. The defending champion is yet to drop a set and will face Hubert Hurkacz in the round of 32. Meanwhile, Rally Opelka has blasted his way into the 3rd round at Wimbledon as the John 21-year-old American serve eventually proved too hot to handle for triple Grand Slam champion Stan Wawrinka in a high-octane 5-set duel. Opelka came through 7-5, 3-6, 6-4, 8-6 against the Swiss for the biggest win of his career. He now faces a possible meeting with Milos Raonic. Croatian Ivor Karlovic, although the same height as Opelka, was unsuccessful in his 5-set match after losing to Italy's Thomas Fabiano 6-3, 6-7, 6-3, 6-7, 6-4 in a little over 3 hours. That's it on Sports News. News at 10 continues just now.
Thank you, Olumide. And the main news again. The National Economic Council today confirmed the suspension of the Ruga settlement program by President Muhammadu Buhari. The council said the initiative is inconsistent with the livestock transformation program of the federal government. And that's how it's been on the news at 10 tonight. I want to thank you so much indeed for watching. On behalf of all of us here, I am Gimbo Umar saying good night.